How often do you check your phone? Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by the constant urge to check your notifications and respond to messages? A 2021 study found that Americans in their early 20s used their phones 28.5 hours per week in 2020. That's 2.5 hours up from 2018. I personally love the convenience of my smartphone, but although it allows me to stay connected with family and friends all around the world, sometimes it can also make me feel disconnected. Maybe you've experienced the same. And when convenience turns into mindless scrolling and then into full-blown addiction, something has to change. That's why I set up boundaries, so I can be more intentional about my screen time. And I feel so much better now. In this video, I want to share what worked for me, so you can break your phone addiction as well and develop a healthier relationship with your phone. Smartphones are not the enemy. Sure, we've all heard the stories about apps that are designed to hijack our attention and send us down the rabbit hole, but I personally wouldn't want to go back to a world where I can't access Google Maps on the go, or take quality pictures without having to carry around a heavy camera or text my friends. I went to a big musical festival once before I had a mobile phone, and I lost my friends during a gig. I tried to find them for the rest of the day among the 60,000 attendees, and take it from me, it's easier to find a needle in a haystack. It sucked. Smartphones can be a lifeline, a creative outlet, and help us make better connections. But as Cole Nielper wrote in Digital Minimalism, we didn't sign up for this digital world we live in, we sort of stumbled backwards into it. It's when our phone usage goes unchecked that we can encounter problems. There are many studies showing a causal link between excessive smartphone use and social anxiety, shorter attention span, and an increased risk of mental health issues. Sometimes pictures are worth 1,000 words. Take for example these photos by Max Cavallari, depicting how we can be glued to our phones. They remind me of the soul-sucking Dementors in Harry Potter. If that's a bit over the top, check out these photos by Eric Pickersgill. There's something very sad about them. These people are in each other's company, but they're all in their own world, disconnected from one another. I've been on the receiving end of that myself with people I care about, and it's a lonely feeling. I don't want someone else to feel that disconnect in my presence, like they have to compete for my attention because I'm so attached to my smartphone. But if we're proactive and intentional about how we use our phone, we can leverage its amazing features without falling prey to the dark side. Here's how. So the first thing you can do is turning off notifications. When I worked as a lawyer, I had a BlackBerry. And whenever I would get a new email, this red light would start to flash at any time of the day. I was so attuned to it, half of the time I thought it was flashing, I would pick it up to check the new email, only to find that it hadn't been flashing at all. It's worse with smartphones. Every app wants to stay on your radar, and they do so by sending you a myriad of notifications. But all these micro interruptions, they ruin your ability to be present and focus. Trust me, you do not need to be notified every time someone likes your photo or posts in a group chat. After turning off all notifications, you can turn specific notifications back on for things that actually matter to you, like text from your mom. And when I do deep work, I often put my phone in airplane mode, so I know I won't be disturbed by anyone. A lot of people recommend setting a time limit on your screen time. However, experts say that that's the wrong thing to focus on. In this article in Time magazine, Yelda Ols, an assistant adjunct professor of psychology at UCLA, says that the content you're consuming matters more than the overall time you spend on your phone. Watching a documentary on your phone does not have the same impact as mindlessly scrolling TikTok. So what apps are you using purely for recreation? And what apps are a complete waste of your time if you're honest with yourself? Why not delete those apps from your phone altogether? I've removed all social media apps from my phone, and I don't feel I'm missing much. I was never really into TikTok, and Instagram is just full of ads these days. If I do want to check in on my friends, I will log into the desktop app and go on and off with intention. And I also removed the YouTube Analytics app from my phone because I found I was just checking it time and again mindlessly. If deleting these time-sucking apps is a bridge too far, move them to the last page of your home screen so they're not immediately visible when you grab your phone. And set a hard time limit of say 30 minutes a day. I would actually set a timer because it's so easy to get sucked into the vortex and only wake up from it hours later. By switching your phone's color profile to black and white, you make your phone less attractive. All of a sudden, it's like reading the newspaper. It loses some of its appeal. On an iPhone, open the Settings app. Then go to Accessibility and tap on Display and Text Size. Select color filters, toggle the switch to on, and tap grayscale. I don't know the exact steps for an Android phone, but you'll be able to find those with a simple Google search. What I also did is make my phone look more minimal. This is mostly an aesthetic thing and completely optional. After removing most of the apps from my home screen, I was left with just the ones I use on a daily basis, like Gmail, WhatsApp, Google Maps, Notion, Apple Notes. I added a minimal background from unsplash.com, a widget with calendar and clock, and I replaced the icons from the apps I kept with a few custom icons. There are packs with icons you can buy in the App Store, and I did use those initially. But then I found that I couldn't set custom icons for certain apps I was using, like my podcast app, Pocket Casts. And when iOS updated, some of the bookmarks stopped working. Since I only had a few apps, I set up custom icons manually. I first saw this in one of Robert Grading's videos, so shout out to him. I will link to his video in the description below. I do have more apps in my app library. These are apps that I occasionally use, like travel apps from airline companies or ride-sharing companies, or finance apps. But I don't want them cluttering my home screen. I can dumb down my phone all I want, but if it's still in my peripheral vision, I'm still aware of it. Now, this may be a weird quirk about me, but it's like it's still on the silent to-do list, taking on a personality and sending subtle messages to me to pick it up and check what's new. So what I like to do is to put my phone in another room or in my backpack. That way it's really out of sight, out of mind, and I can forget about it. You can take it one step further and designate certain places as sacred. This is where your phone is not allowed, period. Now this depends on how much space you have, but it could be a lounge chair or your bedroom or a reading nook. You can do the same for certain hours of the day. For example, I don't check my phone for the first hour in the morning. Instead, I go for a walk and read a book when I come home. I also limit my screen time at night. Sometimes I listen to a podcast to unwind before going to sleep. I do listen to that on my phone, but I will first download the episode and turn my phone on airplane mode so I can't be distracted by it. Checking your phone every free moment fills an empty space you have, even if it's often not fulfilling. However, if this has been your habit for a very long time, stopping it can feel weird, uncomfortable even. Your brain has come to expect the dopamine hits, the constant stimulation. So what can help is to have an alternative when you feel the temptation to grab your phone. Having a book at hand is a good one. You could also make a cup of coffee or tea, or start a conversation with someone. A real connection in the real world. And after a while, see if you can get comfortable with being bored. Having an alternative to your phone is good to get you over the hump, but you don't need to do something all the time. When waiting in line in the supermarket or on a commute on the bus, it's okay to just be, to take in the world around you. I think you'd see the world with new eyes. We're not used to doing nothing anymore though. It's frowned upon, it can feel uncomfortable, scary even. When you're on your phone every single moment of the day, it fills up your attentional space. But when you decide to just be and you allow yourself to be alone with your thoughts and feelings, you may not always like what you see. If that's something you find difficult, you may want to check out my video, The Art of Doing Nothing. In that video, I talk about how doing nothing sometimes is important to regain balance in this fast-paced world. You can check it out right here. So thanks for watching, I hope to see you in the next video and take care. Bye bye.